Episode 2, cooking, and I'm gonna show you how to make one of my staples. That this is really convenient, especially on the go, and we're gonna do tuna on rice cakes, which is obviously something that's pretty basic, but you saw how much I jazzed up chicken and rice, so that's how much I'm gonna jazz up tuna and rice cake. All right, so let's get started. So first, I wanna go over the ingredients we're gonna use. You can use any tuna you want. I use the Starkist Chunk Light. I just like the way it tastes. It mixes up easy. There's really benevolent or less destructive brands out there, from what I understand, that are using like special type of nets that don't catch dolphins or something. And you know, there's different amounts of mercury with the different types of tuna. So I only have one of these meals a day for the mercury content. I also include peas and carrots. I love peas and carrots, they're my favorite vegetables, because it's easy. It's $1 a bag. You throw it in 7 minutes on microwave. This side up, you're done. I like to use a little bit of olive oil mayo with the tuna to make it less gross. And then I put a lot of this stuff in because it has pretty much calorie free and it makes everything taste good. And then I put them on rice cakes. So I'm gonna basically just get started making this dish. So first, I'm gonna throw this in, 7 minutes. I know it seems like I'm mentally challenged. Why on earth did I do it that way is because every microwave is totally different. And then the way to program in 7 minutes is hard to do. Some of them don't even take 7 minutes. So I just hit the plus 30 button a whole bunch of times. So 2 of these is 40 grams of protein. We're gonna do that as a serving size today. So we're gonna get a plate out. And we're gonna need a fork. There we go. I usually do this coming from the other direction, but I don't think that makes a difference. So a lot of people are concerned about mercury poisoning. And I'll be honest with you, I was eating this meal 4 times a day during prep. And I was getting something like 20 times the lethal limit of mercury. So I think the right amount of, if you're worried about mercury poisoning, one of these cans, not 2, one of these cans like every 2 days would be the most. So you could have this meal like once a week if you're really worried about mercury poisoning. It's way bigger deal than I thought it was. It's way easier to get mercury poisoning. So people, say, what are the symptoms of mercury poisoning? It's like, well, there's the expression mad as a hatter. You're supposed to go crazy. It's like, motherfucker, I've been crazy the whole time. I wouldn't notice if I got crazier. So, I don't notice any symptoms, but I'm not all there in the first place. This brand, you get about 99% of the fish out of the can when you just hold it upside down. Other brands, like Walmart brand, only like a quarter of the fish comes out. You really have to dig in there to get it out. So there's still some water in this. I don't want that, so I'm gonna strain it out. You see how easy it breaks up? Completely different from other brands. Now you can put honey mustard or Dijon mustard in if you don't want to use other condiments, that's fine. Obviously you can do whatever you want, but to keep it as low a calorie or as low as empty calories as possible. I find honey mustard has a lot more sugar than this stuff. So I like to break it up really, really fine. I usually have this for meal 1 or if I'm just not ready for another meal yet. I don't know if this is the best meal pre-workout, but I found that pre-contest I was able to get pretty close to a full pump off of one of these meals and off of, I wanna say 45 ounces of fluid. Should be 15, it was 19. That looks like it should be about 28, 27, close enough. All right, so that's 7 grams of fat right there. This container is much harder than usual. The plastic's denser. How odd. So anyway, this was a total of 2 grams of carbs. So I just added 7 grams of fat and 2 grams of carbs to this. And it will dramatically improve the taste of tuna fish, which is pretty nasty if you don't eat sushi grade tuna. Wow, that was hot. All right, so with these guys, I strongly believe for proper digestion, the most important thing you can do is have about 85 grams per meal. That should be about 40. That was 36, okay. We want 85. There we go, that's burning my hand. 81, that's it, we're doing it. Oh, look at that. That looks delicious. All right, so final touches. We're gonna put onion powder on it. There you go. We're gonna put a little bit of salt. Now I'm gonna stir that in. All right, so each rice cake is 7 carbs, so you should probably be able to load them thick enough to where you could get away with as little as 5 rice cakes, making this meal 40, 35, 9. Really, it'd be more like 37. Now, personally, I'm supposed to be eating a lot more carbs than that, so I'm gonna stretch this out. So I'm gonna have like 7 or 8 rice cakes. So that would be 49 or 56 carbs respectively. And then of course, just make it look complete. All right, let's see how it tastes. So the way it is prepared, this meal had 40 grams of protein, 9 grams of fat, and maybe 2 grams of carbs, plus the rice cakes. The amount of rice cakes you use is your choice. So you can use as much or as little as you want. Just like on the last meal, you may use as much or as little rice as you want, because that's the variable that you use. Titrate up on, down on calories to control whether you're gaining weight or losing weight, and then what rate you want to do it so that it's exactly the tissue type you want to be gaining or losing, not the other tissue type. All right, so there you have it. You have my second meal that I usually have the chicken and rice meal from episode 1 3 times a day. I usually have this once a day. Upcoming episodes will be more esoteric things that I might eat as an alternative, just because rather than having an out of the house off-plan meal where you can't track it, at least if I cook for myself, even if it's out of bounds for one meal, I can make the rest of the day work around it so it still works out by the end of the day with the macros and the calories. Furthermore, even if you go overboard, at least you can document how far overboard you went and with what, so that you can record how bad you feel the next day or how great you look the next day. And then that's a reproducible effect, hypothetically, because you have a documented cheat meal that you made yourself.